Have you been waiting for the most anticipated new launch of 2024? Should you buy this or Chuan Park? The moment you have been waiting for is finally here. This is my review of Emerald of Katong by Sim Lian Group. Hi everyone, my name is William from Own This Property, and today we will be analysing the first URA harmonization plot in District 15 Emerald of Katong. Now, I've recently subsold my unit at Penrose and looking to reinvest my capital, and Emerald of Katong is certainly one that I'm looking at. In this video, I guarantee that I'll be sharing with you my unique insights that nobody else covers, and by the end of the video, you have a clear understanding and strategy on whether you should buy Emerald of Katong. If you like what you see, do reach out to me on WhatsApp and I'll be happy to share more with you at the show flat. Preview starts around mid of November. And if Emerald of Katong is not for you, not to worry, as I've compiled and ranked all the new launches in 2024 and 2025 in my ultimate guide to new launches. So if you'd like a copy of the PDF, just fill up the Google form link below and I'll be happy to share it with you. I've recently introduced the OTP Framework to analyze properties and compare them in a more structured and holistic way, and this is all thanks to the feedback from you guys, the viewers. So here's a speed run on how we can actually use this framework to analyze Emerald of Katong. To avoid sounding like a broken record, do check out my Chuan Park video to see how it works. Basically, we will be analyzing and scoring properties based on these 5 factors: attributes, location, price and profit, supply, and the upside or exit strategy. This makes comparing properties much easier, and we can immediately spot winners and losers. If you'd like a copy of the OTP framework where I compare all the upcoming launches in the pipeline, just fill up the Google form link below and I'll send it to you. Now back to the video. Let's kick things off by looking at the first factor in our OTP framework, the development's attributes. Why is everyone so excited about this plot is because Sim Lian won the bid by just $800,000 or 0.1% above the next bid from CDL and Fraser's property. That translates to a lower land bid price compared to the neighbouring Tembusu Grand by 17.9%. What does this mean for the price? Stay tuned to my price analysis later in the video to find out more. In this video, I'll be speed running through all the standard project information because these are already widely available, and I want to spend more time looking at all the numbers and quantitative analysis that nobody else covers. So if you'd like a copy of the ebook or brochure, just reach out to me on WhatsApp and I'll be happy to share it with you. First check in our box, we have 80% car park provisions, but most importantly, it is a full basement car park versus Tembusu Grand's multi-story car park, so this is a win for Emerald of Katong. In terms of facilities, another check in our box as you get lap pool, ample facilities, and a tennis court. As part of the land bid, the neighborhood park in the top right corner will also be developed by Sim Lian. Facade-wise, don't you think it looks very similar to another popular project in the east? If you couldn't figure it out, Emerald of Katong is on the left and Park Esta is on the right. I like that the block-to-block distance isn't too near, but here's one common concern I hear from buyers. There is a nursing home to the bottom right of the development, so will this be an issue? Let's use our identical twin Park Esta as a case study. To the bottom right of Park Esta is a site of worship. I calculated all the returns of buyers who have since sold, broken down to the blocks. Notice that block 904, which is directly next to the site of worship, performs slightly better than block 912 all the way on the other side of the development. And block 902, which has the same views of the site of worship, also performs similarly to block 914 on the other side of the development. Now, developers are also smart. They price units further away from the site of worship higher and those closer lower. So the moral of the story is that in the resale market, profitability of your unit doesn't really depend on whether it is facing something less desirable, but whether the entry price you paid makes sense. Next, for the unit mix, Emerald of Katong starts from 1 bedroom plus study all the way to 5 bedroom, and it is an ideal unit mix, with most units being 3 bedrooms or larger, which checks the box that we want again. Lastly, one negative attribute is the density of Emerald of Katong. It ranks as one of the most dense new launches in this property cycle, with only the Ori at Toa Payoh being denser. All in all, I see mostly good attributes, but minus 0.5 points off the score due to the high density. So Emerald of Katong scores a 4.5 out of 5 for the first factor, attributes. The second factor in our OTP framework is location. So here's a quick summary. This is an RCR project with Tanjong Katong MRT just 5 minutes walk away. Singaporeans again love their MRTs, And being slightly closer to the MRT relative to our neighbour Tembusu Grand also bodes well for resale demand. In terms of primary schools, we have Haig Girls and Tanjong Katong within 1 km, while CHIJ Katong and Tao Nan are within 2 km. Not the very best, but still decent in my opinion. You'll get ample amenities here. To the west and south of us are rows of shophouses with famous eateries. Katong Shopping Centre is 5 minutes walk away, and you also have Fair Price Finest at Katong V and CS Fresh at I12 Katong, all within 10 minutes walk away. Emerald of Katong has all the key location attributes we want, but I have to shave off the score a little due to its lack of a top primary school. Hence, it gets 4.5 out of 5 for the location factor. Moving on to the quantitative stuff, let's take a look at the third factor of our OTP framework, price and profitability. The big question is whether Emerald of Katong will be selling cheaper than Tembusu Grand. Many buyers are optimistic because the land bid cost is lower. So let's take a look at this objectively. I think that the base case is that there's a 50% probability that it will sell slightly more expensive. There's also many case studies out there that have proven that buying land cheap does not mean selling it cheap, because developers are ultimately profit driven. Adding the standard profit margin over the break-even price is a simplistic approach, and we have to use that logic. Then Jadescape in the previous property cycle would have been priced way lower than what it did. But let's take a look at a more recent example at Jurong Lake Gardens. Sora was launched 11 months after Lake Garden Residences, even though their land bid cost was 18.8% lower, which resulted in their break-even price being 10.9% lower. The eventual launch day price was still 1.7% higher than Lake Garden. Not forgetting that market sentiment today is much better than when Tembusu Grand was launched in April 2023. So if I were the developer Sim Lian, I would actually price it slightly more expensive. Nevertheless, I do recognize that there's always a probability that Sim Lian might be feeling generous and be happy with an already very healthy profit margin of over 25% if they were to price Emerald of Katong similar to Tembusu Grand. Developers today are also more wary of upcoming competition, and I think that Sim Lian will likely adopt a pricing strategy of launching low first and then stage prices up higher, since there are over 800 units available for sale. Let's step into Sim Lian's mind and analyze their pricing strategy with a recent case study at Dairy Farm. Botany at Dairy Farm by Sim Lian was launched at an average of $2,070 per square feet because they know that the market has already accepted $1,827 to $1,999 per square feet at the next door older neighbor Dairy Farm Residences. Again, I think that it would be out of character if Sim Lian were to price below what the market already accepts. Developers also know how hot their property is, and this development has been hyped up by so many people for so long. There is a case to pricing more than 5% higher because their competitor Tembusu Grand is already 82% sold to date, meaning there isn't much competition in the area today. The market has also accepted over $2,700 per square feet for an RCR project near the MRT, which was 8 at BT. Is it possible for prices to be lower? Nothing is impossible, and this might happen in a scenario where the economy takes a drastic downturn, a recession, or rate hikes instead of the expected cuts. So what price do I expect at Emerald of Katong? Based on the only example we have in the market today of a pre- and post-URA harmonization project that is side by side, where Lentor Mansion launched at an average PSF that was about 8% higher than Lentor Hills, I expect Emerald of Katong to sell at an average of $2,650 per square feet. For projects where there is a difference in URA harmonization rules, we should also focus more on the quantum rather than the PSF. Let's next look at the resale comparables and performance. Because there are quite a few developments in the area, I've narrowed it down to properties within a 600-meter radius of Tanjong Katong MRT. It has to have at least 200 units, and it also TOPs from the year 2000 onwards. Besides Tembusu Grand under construction and Amber Park with just TOP, the rest of the properties are already 14 years old. Let's do our signature price gap analysis. Taking the expected PSF of Emerald of Katong at $2,650 per square feet and compare it with the recent PSF transacted at the other resale developments. The difference in PSF is the premium, and we divide the premium by the age gap to Emerald of Katong to arrive at the premium PSF per year. Now this analysis kind of falls a little short here because Emerald of Katong is the only URA harmonization plot, resulting in an artificially elevated PSF. Nevertheless, apart from Amber Park, which transacts at a higher PSF, I think that the PSF premium you are paying at Emerald of Katong is fair. In terms of rental yield, the developments average 2.66%. However, note that the majority of them are freehold developments, which tends to have lower rental yields. In terms of profitability, over the past 5 years, there have been 385 profitable transactions and only 5 unprofitable transactions. This gives us an average annualized return of 3.94%, which is pretty good. All in all, I think that Emerald of Katong, even at $2,650 per square feet, is fairly priced based on my price gap analysis, and the resale performance for rental should be better than the average there due to its 99-year nature. And the profits is certainly healthy, representing good demand. It's not perfect, but it does score a good 4 out of 5 in our OTP framework. Another signature OTP framework analysis is our take on how we determine demand and supply in an area. In order to determine an area's demand and supply dynamics, we calculate the supply ratio, which is the total number of a particular bedroom type on sale divided by the total number of that bedroom type in the area. The lower the supply ratio, the better, as it reflects that not only do sellers have more pricing power, but it also reflects resale buyers buying up units once they put up for sale. The supply analysis segment is always the most tedious and time-consuming research I do in every video. I have to check the number of units on sale, go through that there's no duplicates, and also see the exact number of that bedroom type in a particular development. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Your support really means a lot to me. For 2 bedrooms, interestingly, some developments don't even have such a unit type. Do note that because Amber Park just TOP, it's natural to have more units on sale, and it contributed over half of the units on sale. After doing this analysis for so many areas in Singapore, anything below 3% is considered good. And while the supply ratio here is slightly higher at 4.2%, I do expect it to decline to less than 3% once Amber Park's units get sold over time. For 3 bedrooms, once again, Amber Park contributed quite a few units on sale. Despite that, the supply ratio of 2.12% is good and will only get better over time. Lastly, for 4 bedrooms, once again, Amber Park's 9 units are more than the rest of the resale developments combined. Despite that, the supply ratio is very low at 1.66%. Hence, for the supply and resale analysis factor in our OTP framework, I think Emerald of Katong scores well here for its low supply ratio, especially for the larger 3 and 4 bedrooms. I do, however, need to shave off the score by 1 point to factor in Tembusu Grand, which is expected to complete in 2025. It will likely inject more supply into the area, especially 2 bedrooms. So for the 3 and 4 bedrooms, I think the supply ratio is excellent, and we arrive at a score of 4 out of 5. Before moving on to the last factor, I've done a separate analysis to compare Emerald of Katong with the recent 99-year new launches in District 15. I've also previously done a video to compare the Continuum, Grand Diamond, and Tembusu Grand, so do check it out. I left the video link in the description below. In the process of doing this analysis, what I've actually spotted was price gaps as well as opportunities in not only Emerald of Katong, but also some of the other developments. So if you are a buyer looking at District 15 new launches and want to know what unit type to buy, and also what unit type not to buy to avoid a costly mistake, do reach out to me on WhatsApp, and I'll be happy to go through a consultation session with you. On to the final factor, which is upside potential and exit strategy. I think that D15 in general enjoys organic demand from all corners of Singapore. When we talk about an aspirational or dream home, people might think of Orchard in District 9 or Newton Bukit Timah in District 10 and 11. District 15 is also one of them, and you can see that it is also the best performing district, returning over 40% growth over the past 10 years. No offense to places like Woodlands or Changi, but you will rarely hear your friends and family saying that they will uproot themselves from one corner of Singapore to the other. So let's look at the buyer profile of new launches today and see where they come from. Hillock Green in Lentor attracts buyers mainly in the same District 19 and a few more in the surrounding locations. Likewise, for the Lake Garden at Jurong Lake, it also mainly attracts buyers who already live in Jurong District 22. District 15, on the other hand, is a very different story. Notice how Tembusu Grand attracted a more varied pool of buyers. In other words, buyers from all locations in Singapore are actually buying into living in District 15. A common complaint about Emerald of Katong is that there are a lot of condos in the area, but remember, demand and supply is always relative. Even with high supply, you can have even higher demand, which contributed to District 15's outperformance in profits. The same story applies to another recent District 15 new launch called Grand Diamond. We see demand coming from many other districts. Hence, I think that buying Emerald of Katong in District 15, despite its lack of HDB upgraders in the vicinity, you will get a large pool of aspirational organic demand from all corners of Singapore. Another upside factor is the southern coast of Singapore undergoing massive transformation, with District 15 enjoying the Long Island transformation. A lot has been already said about it, so I won't go into the details, but do note that this is still 10 to 20 years away, and you should not factor it into your upside projections if you are only looking to hold Emerald of Katong for 5 to 10 years. Lastly, let's focus on the exit strategy, which is one of the most common concerns I hear from viewers of the channel. Looking at the entry price of different unit sizes, I do spot a lot of quantum gap advantages. Because it's smaller and more efficient in size, the entry quantum of Emerald of Katong is going to be one of the lowest in the entire area, even lower than Tembusu Grand for some layout types. 14 to 20 year older developments such as One Amber or Head Court have already transacted at quantums much higher than Emerald of Katong, which represents a very safe entry price for you. The quantum gap advantage is even more apparent for larger unit types. For example, the 1,152 square feet, 4-bedroom plus study layout at Emerald of Katong is under $3 million. That is really a no-brainer when all the other developments are already transacting way above that, which is why I think getting the biggest size your budget allows is the right decision here at Emerald of Katong. Hence, Emerald of Katong's upside and exit strategy factor is one of the best I've seen so far, largely due to the huge quantum gap advantage over the comparables in the area, and I give it a score of 4.5 out of 5. I've created the OTP framework so that we can compare these projects objectively and holistically based on the 5 key factors. So if you are keen to understand how to utilize this framework to aid in your decision-making process, do reach out to me on WhatsApp and I'll be happy to consult with you. With our OTP framework analysis done, let's move on to the layout analysis. Now, to keep this video short and sweet, I won't be going through every single layout. Instead, I'll be highlighting the units that you should get and also the units that you should avoid. So if you'd like to actually go through all the floor plans available, do reach out to me on WhatsApp and I can send the ebook and brochure for you to reference. Because Emerald of Katong is a URA harmonization project, the size on paper is based on the actual usable space, which excludes the aircon ledge. We will also be comparing with Tembusu Grand a lot in this analysis, as they will be our first and natural competitor in the resale market. The most popular layout at launch will be the 2-bed 2-bath for investors. If budget allows, I prefer Emerald of Katong's larger 646 square feet layout in the middle over the 624 square feet layout on the left, as you have a larger and separate space for the dining table, plus the kitchen is more tucked away. While Emerald of Katong's kitchens are not tucked away like that in Tembusu Grand, notice how bedroom 2 is larger. So I think it is a tie here. Both layouts will attract different buyers. Do note that I've used a higher $2,700 per square feet estimate here for calculating the quantum. So if the actual launch price is anything below Tembusu Grand's average of $1.66 million, I think it is safe to buy Emerald of Katong's 2-bedroom 2-bath layout. There are 3 different 2-bedroom plus study layouts, and all of them are dumbbell layouts, which is a positive compared to Tembusu Grand. However, it is a little tougher to have a fully separate study in Emerald of Katong, as more of the layouts are connected to the 2-bedroom. Hence, my preference will be the 678 square feet layout on the left. Once again, I think anything under $1.89 million, which is the average transacted price for a 2+ study at Tembusu Grand, is a safe purchase here. For the smaller 3-bedroom 2-bath layout, again, the larger common bedrooms is a positive for Emerald of Katong. However, I do think that the larger foyer at the entrance is a little wasted. My preference here is the 904 square feet layout in the middle, as the living room width is 3 meters, comparable to that of Tembusu Grand. As we approach the larger units in Emerald of Katong, you will realize a common theme, that the larger units at Emerald of Katong is a better buy than Tembusu Grand. The 3-bedroom plus study especially has a very good quantum advantage because all layouts are expected to be cheaper than Tembusu Grand. This is due to Tembusu Grand's larger size of 1,173 square feet. The emphasis for units at Emerald is a wider living area, larger master bedroom, and common bedrooms. While you do sacrifice a home shelter, there is still a storeroom. My favorite here is the 990 square feet layout. There's no wasted space at the entrance, and the study room is also a flexi room. You have an option to knock down the wall at the dining table, which is not possible for the other layouts. And probably my favorite layout in the entire development is the 4-bedroom plus study. This layout is also the best for investors because the entry price is just too attractive, a 4-bedroom with a study for just under $3 million. This is also only slightly more expensive than Tembusu Grand's 3-bedroom plus study, which averages at $2.84 million. You know how 4-bedroom layouts always have a set 4th bedroom on the other side looking out to your neighbor's aircon ledge? Over here, all bedrooms face outwards, plus it is in a dumbbell format. In addition, you get an extra study room, which is perfect for additional storage or a helper's room. The only negative is that it lacks a 3rd bathroom. If you are buying for own stay and think that 2 bathrooms plus a water closet suffices, then this should be the layout to buy. Emerald of Katong also has a Lux series which gives you that wide landscape living and dining layout. The quantum is still priced lower than Tembusu Grand, although you do sacrifice a 3rd bathroom again. To put everything together, who should be buying Emerald of Katong? Based on our OTP framework, this development score is one of the best that we have seen so far, and this has given me a lot of confidence to recommend this to my clients. For own-stay buyers, you get a full facilities condo with a basement car park. If you require more bedrooms, the larger layouts here are still the cheapest quantum in District 15. On the flip side, be aware that this is a high-density project, and you might experience construction noise from the future GRS to the south of you. For investors, all the positives of own stay also play a part in having good resale demand in the future. What really stands out is the larger layouts, which not only have a very low supply ratio, but also a very big quantum gap advantage to the older resale condos around you. In the long run, we will also have a GLS and the Long Island transformation to stir demand and prices. One negative, however, is the smaller units have higher supply ratios. If you are considering between this and Trump Park, I think Emerald of Katong will give you a greater certainty of exit in the future, but the holding period is slightly longer than Trump Park, especially for the smaller units due to the high competition in the future. On the other hand, Trump Park enjoys lower supply ratios for the smaller layouts and will give you a greater ease of exit in the future. In short, if your budget is under $2 million, I think you should actually look at Trump Park's 2 bedrooms, but if your budget is above $2 million, then you should be actually looking at the 3 or 4 bedrooms at Emerald of Katong. And with that, thank you for staying to the end of the video. If you would like to explore working with me and think that I can value add to your property journey, do reach out to me on WhatsApp to arrange a show flat viewing. And if Emerald of Katong is not for you, or you would like to compare it with the other new launches in the market, just fill up the Google form in the link below and I'll be happy to share with you my ultimate guide to new launches and my OTP framework. Thank you once again. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.